Today, I'd like to show you how I make my first ever denim bear. So it's another rainy day on board and I've decided to try and make my very first denim teddy bear. So I've got this pair of jeans that I bought for $1. And it's a nice big pair, which is good because that gives me lots of material to work with. And I particularly like the colour and the texture with the lines. And I've found in here somewhere this old magazine. I don't know how old, but it's been around a while. I'm going to make moonflower, and all the patterns on this side here, and so I'm going to trace around this, and the reason I have to do that is because they've put patterns inside patterns, so I can't just cut it out. And then I will work out how and where I'm going to place the pieces on this piece of denim, and then I'm going to cut them out. And I think the first step before starting to sew, and I'm going to use the sewing machine, will be to use an overlocker around the edges. And as normal, I'll show you each step as I go along, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about making moonflower. Looks like a cute teddy bear, nice proportions. See how we go. Alright, so Captain's gone crazy and he's left the boat. Gone to get some yabbies. He can't be cooped up like me. So here's the pattern all cut out, and there's some pieces that you have to cut twice in reverse. So I've got them all ready, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lay out the fabric. So I'll probably lay it out upside down so that when I draw around the pattern and cut, it wouldn't be visible from the front. And I'll just do a little tester to make sure that this Sharpie doesn't go straight through to the other side. But yeah, just going to start laying out this pattern. So I'm going to store this in a envelope so that it's all together, and I'll just I'll write moonflower on the front, and also that I made the first one with a denim bear, because then I'll remember years later down the track which bear that was. And what I've done here is I've traced around the pattern right on the seam. I thought that that would be a good place to put it, and also it says to leave the front open on the pattern. However, I'm going to sew all the way around because I think with a denim bear you've got less ability to hide the seams, and so what I can do then is I can actually quick unpick probably, you know, about that much on the seam, and then when I re-stitch it I can make it as invisible as I can. So I think that that's a better option. I've done that with the feet and the arms. And then I'll show you this one, and then everything else is on this side. I was initially going to put a seam like this straight down the middle of the head gusset, and I forgot, and then I decided to keep it this way anyway. And I don't know whether I'd be making life more difficult for me putting that straight down the middle of the head. So since this is my first denim bear, I'm just going to go safe and keep it plain. Yeah, can't wait to see what it's like. Here's all the pieces, and I've set up the overlocker, so I'm just going to overlock around the edges. Here are my pieces all edged with an overlocker, and now I'm about to sew the little darts in before I begin to piece it all together. I've just got to the pinning stage and realised that I didn't actually cut a head. So I'm just going to sew these pieces because I'll have to get the overlocker out again and recut those head sides, but otherwise looking good. All done for today. I have to clean up now and get ready for sailing tomorrow. We've made it into Gladstone and it's a bit windy and we are in the middle of nowhere. So here I am crafting again, and what I've got to do now is I've got to quick unpick the arms and the legs so that I can turn them in the right way. And so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to make the little holes and use these joints, which are the split pin variety, to join the body and the arms and the legs. However, I feel like the head might be a little bit too pointy, so I may have to remake just that section. So I poke the holes in the body, and then I quick unpick the seams of the arms and the legs so that I can get the joints in there. I've made a little hole there, and then I insert the joints. In my other teddy bear videos, I show you how to use the joints. Here he is, all jointed up. I then insert his stuffing, and as I suspected, his head is super pointy, which I don't really like, so I'm going to remake this section. I'm happy with how the body looks so far, and so I take him out on board when we're sitting in the sun one day, and I stitch up his arms, and then I look at redesigning the head. It's a bit of a wavy sailing day, so I don't get much done, but here's the design I've come up with. I've made the head gusset a little bit longer and the head a little bit bigger, and I've also made a little allowance to be able to slip an ear into this seam. Captain's cooking me lunch again, and we've arrived at Great Keppel Island, looking beautiful. Here's my new pieces all cut out, and this is where I'm going to sew the ear in there like that, and it worked out beautifully. Really happy. So now I've pinned together the nose and stitched around, and then I overlocked afterwards, which I think I prefer overlocking before, but I just thought I'd try it. And ready to turn out. Oops, a little bit of a stitching mishap there. I went over it again with the sewing machine before I stuffed it. I then sewed him up with the joint on the inside and connected him to his body, which was a bit floppy until I stuffed him. We then decided to check out the island. I found these leaves, which I think are called casuarina leaves, and I think they would make an excellent basket. A project for another time. Oh my goodness, look what we just saw. Look at this guy. He's cute as. I'll come around here so I can try and see him a bit better. Don't get too close. Where is he?
It's in a bowl. Oh. No. What a lovely bunch of coconuts.
There they are, standing in a row.
What?
Captain Alex is French and obviously did not watch The Lion King as many times as I did. Here's the back all sewn up, and then I decided to pin his ears back a little bit, just to give him a little bit more character. I decided to paint him, so I used a textile medium and the paint and mixed them together. I then attached his glass eyes and sewed a nose. So we've decided to stay at Great Keppel for a little bit longer, and possibly up to a week depending on the weather. We've got about, I think, 4 weeks to get ourselves to Airlie. That's the Whitsundays. If you don't know where that is, it's halfway up Queensland in the Great Barrier Reef. And I have finally finished this little guy. I made him a little bow, or her, not sure. I've put the eyes in there. I didn't film putting the eyes in, doing the nose or painting it. That can be a different video that I do at a different time. I just wanted to show you how he turned out, and you know, possibly talk about the things that I'm happy or unhappy with. I don't know if you can hear that creaking, but the wind is really trying to blow us off our anchor. It's pretty calm. It's not bad. Might go to the beach later. Anyway, so Denim Bear, the first I've ever made. Some things that I'm really happy with, for example, the paint. I could have done it a lot neater, but I think that it really kind of, you can have a lot of fun with decorating your bear, especially on the inside of the ears. I think that really turned out well. And particularly one of the things that I liked best about the ears is the way that I sewed them actually into the head. So I don't know if I showed you, but I made that kind of cutout there. And so I sewed that half in first and sewed it along the edge of the side of the head. And then when I was putting the head gusset on, I just tucked the ears in. And so what that means is, unlike the furry bears, this one has ears that are inbuilt. And I didn't really like the shape of them 100% when they were finished, and so what I did was I took a little bit of thread and I just kind of pinned them back, and you can adjust the shape of them. So I was able to raise his ears up, which now I actually really like them. I think they're really cool. I had a lot of trouble here with the mouth. And I think that may have been that at the bottom of my head design, maybe I had it too wide. I should have brought it in a little bit more, so when I pulled it into a circle tight, it didn't have the folds here. But I got around that, not very well, but I kind of sewed, I pinched this material together and I sewed up and down here. And I haven't put on a mouth, but you could like use thread or paint and do some kind of mouth there. Something else. So in the design that I was using, Moonflower, it had those things like the little darts or divots, I don't know what you call them, on the arms and legs. I don't know what they were supposed to do, but I wouldn't do that again, possibly. I mean, it didn't turn out too bad there. There, the threading's coming away a little bit, but I don't think it really added anything particularly good to the design. And another thing with darts on the head, on the body, there was 2 darts on either side. And I think because he's not a furry bear, I think that just having like the body in a normal shape without any darts would have been just fine, because otherwise it just gives him pointy shoulders. And actually, I think because the darts make it rounder, I think it made his bum too round, because I would have liked that maybe a little bit skinnier there. And so you can always modify any design or pattern that you have And especially, you know, once you get going and you've done it once or twice, then you can start to customize it to yourself. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't make his body that round and fat again. Another thing that I really liked that I did was to put these seams at the back, because it really allowed me to hide the joints that I mentioned. Because you can see here, denim is a really tricky material because it wants to fray and pull, so you can't necessarily pull too hard without it just kind of coming undone. So that's what it looks like and would have looked like on the front if I'd left the gap as the pattern said. So really happy that I sewed all the way around and cut there, because you can hardly tell where I've stuffed him. But yeah, apart from that, not happy with the head again, but I think, like I said, that's because the bottom of the head I had wide and I should have brought it into a smaller piece. That would have made that a lot neater. But other than that, I think he's pretty cute. I'm not upset. But would I make another denim bear? Not in a rush. I've got plenty of fur that I think just looks so much better. If you're doing it for a memorial bear, I can totally understand why you would do it, because it's, you know, possibly jeans that have been worn by somebody really special. But if you're just doing it to make a denim bear, then yeah, maybe you'll have a better shot than me. But yeah, I prefer fur because it really does hide a lot of the imperfections and you can get it looking a lot more realistic. But other than that, yeah, thanks for watching along, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. The next bear I'll be making will be my birthday bear. I just really want to make a really traditional bear with a birthday flavour. It's my 40th in 2 weeks and I don't know, I just feel inspired. Anyway, happy crafting everyone.